Hey, it's your girl Jespri. Welcome to my channel. Feel free to hit the like, share, subscribe if you like this video. If you don't, feel free to hit the like or dislike. Um, just so I can, any way I can improve. Give me feedback in the comment section. The dislikes help me to see, maybe I could change some things or whatever. I'm still fairly new uh to commentary reactions and everything like that. So I wanted to do a reaction to this video by Kevin Samuels entitled "Should We Automatically Believe Our Women?" Um, hopefully he won't strike it down. Because I'm not a large channel. I don't know, but if so, I understand. It's his content. But I will disclaimer right now is fair use, fair use. I don't know if that helps, but we'll see. So this is a very, very interesting conversation. It's close to my heart because I have a son. I'm not a fan of the Me Too movement. I'm not a fan of any movement that is anti-man, um, or anything like that. So let's take a listen if you already haven't and see how it goes.
Like, she was very immature, like mentally, but I feel like when it comes to domestic abuse, like there are certain situations that are just different, you know what I mean? Nope. And I feel like, you were saying like, oh, was a restraining order like in effect? Did you call the police? And first thing I asked was Jenny. She said it was over because of domestic violence. I said, was Jenny with a police call? Yeah, but some people do have those situations, you know. So most people don't. Ma'am, do you not understand? I'm a men's advocate. You know how many times women claim abuse, have no proof, and ruin men's lives? How many times do women claim abuse, ruin a man's life, and they don't even go to jail for filing a false police report? I mean, I'm aware of that, but do you have any brothers? I have one brother. Mm-hmm. You have any sons? I have one son. Okay. Advocate for him. Don't always advocate for women. What I said was accurate. Do you not hear that she was still talking about dealing with her child's father? True. Yeah, that's true. See, that's the point. As soon as y'all hear domestic violence, you immediately go to defend the woman, skipping past your son and your brother. Not really.
Yeah, this really, oh, this really got on my nerves. It just irritated my soul because with all these movements and all this shit out here, like, ma'am, I mean, if you have a son, a husband, a brother, cousin, nephew, I mean, you don't just, you think it's okay for a woman just to say he raped me? Like I mean, if it's your husband's son, somebody that you know, that you raised or that you sleep with, that you live with, obviously not saying it's impossible, but do you just automatically take the word of the woman? And a lot of these cases get tried out in the media. Um, I mean, I know a lot of people don't feel bad for celebrities, but at the same time, look at the Bill Cosby situation. Um, I just do not agree with women coming forward 40 years later talking about, I mean, hell, 30, 20, 10 years later talking about they were the R word. I just, it's just crazy to me that there's this movement and that society or in the media now I mean it's called between Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, you can just say any fucking thing. um and I always find it funny, like the cases that were heavy in the media, some of those cases end up in acquittals and retractions that you would never hear about. And I'll see those cases just because I'm constantly just, you know, um on the internet researching this, that, whatever, looking up stuff. Um and the funny thing, I'll get to it in a minute, but that's down the line. I discovered I found something out that I'll get to that's pretty shocking. Um to say the least, and further on down the line here.
Realize you're talking to a liar. No, I know. That's why my brother was in a very similar situation as well. That's why women say it, because they can rely on women like you to put on your Supergirl cape and defend them.
And let me just say, I said this, and I know it's not comparable to the I word, but I had my cousin had two different women pin a baby on him, and they know good and well that there was a possibility that the baby wasn't his. One, he was in prison when he went to prison shortly after the baby was born, and he didn't find out that the baby wasn't his until 10 years, like damn near 10 years into his bid, because he requested a paternity test. Funny thing about that was the child's actual father had the same name as my cousin. Then fast forward, he was messing with a girl. Now me and this cousin are really close, and he said to me, "Yo, cuz I swear I use protection, you know, um, so and he was really sincere about using protection, but you take the you because um she's so adamant about it. And oh, matter of fact, I want to say the condom might have came off during the intercourse. TMI, I know, but hey. So I want to say that was the case. So he just went along. He went along with it. After she had the baby, I saw the baby. I'm like, the baby too dark, but okay, because my cousin is mixed, and the girl is like a light. She's a lighter brown, and I know about the shades and all that and this and that, but I still, and the baby didn't look like him. So, um, long story short, baby turned out to not be his. So I mean, acting as though women can't lie, like it's impossible. Like, what are we talking about here? But go ahead.
Then say, well, there are cases. You know, the cases that merit, in my opinion, are the cases where women actually say it and do something about it. Yeah. Why should we listen to women who don't do anything about it? No, I agree. Okay. So I listen to those cases. Mm-hmm. But when a woman she didn't do anything about it, why should I listen? I agree. I don't know. I just mechanism, for myself. No, for you, but it's not about you. So the thing is, you guys come in and put your cape on for women who you don't even ask questions. She said it. We gotta defend women. I want to know why you ladies are so quick to defend women you don't know, who have no proof. I don't know. I feel like everyone's in different situations. Man, you realize you're contradicting yourself. You're contradicting yourself. I asked you, everyone's in different situations. If those situations, the woman did nothing about it, should we believe her? Proof. Proof. If she has proof, yes. And proof means what? Um, I know what you're going with this. I know. I'm asking you. I know what I think, but I'm asking you as a woman. What's proof? If no, police, because that was my situation. My situation was I called the police. I had a restraining order. I had all those things in place. No. Okay. See, this is another thing. You guys automatically make it about women. I can be talking about anything, and women will make it about them. That wasn't you. So if a woman says something about domestic violence, what proof should be required before we believe her? I feel like documenting those things.
Oh Lord. Yeah, this really like is eating at my soul. So, proof. Um, you know, it, it- it's it's like this. If you're in an abusive relationship, like um a relative of mine was, um, to be honest, I don't know if she ever called the police on him or anything like that. So, yeah, sometimes you suffer in silence, but that's a choice. Um, there's a lot of women, like this lady said, she did the restraining order, called the police, and so on and so forth. Um, and good for her. If you have the guts to do that, good for you. But do you just I mean, like the women who call in the show and just say, well, it was an abusive relationship, this, that, and the third. And he's an advocate for men, so he's supposed to just go along with that and empathize without hearing both sides. Obviously, you can't hear both sides, but he's not supposed to dig into that, huh? He not supposed to ask questions, and he automatically supposed to say, "Oh well, ma'am, he deserves to be under the jail." Da 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 da. I also had a relative, who was in an abusive situation, and she ended up in the hospital. So, if that's the case, and you were to call the show, you know, um, and and say, well, hey, he put me in the hospital. I got hospital records, and I may not have ever called the police. And a lot of times, the hospital gonna look at you crazy and pick up on it. So, but that relative that ended up in the hospital, that was back in the 70s. So, I agree. Like, eh, you can't just you shouldn't just be able to say things without proof or without somebody questioning you, because you can say anything. It doesn't make it true. Your idea of abuse could be totally different from or could be, like Soncerae Smith said, she was abused because her baby daddy told her she didn't smell good. Really, come on. That's, to some people, that's abuse. He abused me because, yeah, I went upside his head, but that don't give him the right to punch me back. A lot of women feel like a man ain't supposed to hit them back because after they hit them. Anyway,
Documented how? Photos, videos, evidence, and protecting yourself from that. So. Okay, I need you to be a little bit more specific. Who's documenting them? I know what you're saying. No, I'm asking you. Photos, videos can be made by anybody. I'm asking you as a citizen. You have to be fair. Who's documenting this stuff? The police. Is that what you really believe? No, I do, because that's what I did. I protected. All right. Okay, so I said when women come up and claim domestic violence, I immediately ask, were the police involved and are there reports? 99 times out of 100, they have it. And I said, then I don't automatically believe you. But but never fails that women like you automatically hear and you jump out and put your Supergirl cape on and you want to defend the woman over your son, over your brother, with no proof from a stranger, usually based upon themselves. Because you see something in her, but she was lying. So, do you see the problem with society these days? Women like that can get away with lying and it costs good men. There's a football player, Brian Banks. He spent 5 years in jail. The woman who accused him of rape lied about it. She got $2 million in some sort of settlement or something, or whatever. Then she was found out to be lying. Video evidence proof her confessing that she made the entire thing up. The entire thing up. And she served 1 day in jail.
Oh, that was that. I know who that was. That bitch got recorded, or he recorded her telling her that, her telling him that she lied. That's the one. I was thinking about another
Still
one.
trying to get some of the money back. This man's life is still destroyed. So I'm sorry. I refuse to believe women who.
I think he the one that the NFL team gave him another shot or something. But yeah, that shit was yeah. Oh my god. Ugh.
Just say it without proof. I hear you going with it. I understand what you're saying. I don't know. It was just my whole defense thing because sometimes women, I don't know. Sometimes women what? I want to understand why you women. It's like a fear. Maybe it's a fear thing. Maybe they just don't know how to go about things. She seems pretty young, and mentally, where she probably just was naive and didn't know what to do in her situation. Okay, so I want to get this straight. You as a woman automatically give excessive benefit of the doubt to the woman. In order to do that, maybe she didn't know, maybe she was afraid, maybe she was terrified, maybe she was this. So you give all that benefit of the doubt to her. Then that means you take it from his side. So that man is automatically guilty. And then he has to overcome her being young, not knowing where to go. So every woman's a victim. Let's believe all women. Well, I hope you have this mindset when somebody does this to your son. I hope so. No. I hope so. No, because there's gonna be a woman that says, hey, maybe Miss Angel, maybe your son, maybe she didn't know, maybe she didn't do this, maybe she didn't do that. These women are scared. So when they lock your son up, take his rights, ruin his life, not his, because once that's out there, it's there forever. It never goes away. I hope you was understanding and say, well, you know what? She was scared. She didn't know. And then right. I don't think my son would ever be in that situation.
Oh, bitch. You should see the face, the look on his face. And last night when I first heard it, I didn't even know. Like, I was just like, I mean, child. I'm like, I can't, I can't help but laugh. Like, what are we talking about here? You're not gonna raise your son to get in that predicament? Who raises their son to get in that predicament, ma'am? Hello? It wouldn't be so funny if it wasn't so fucking stupid. Oh my god. This person says, "Lady, you have the nerve to imply the men that women put false accusations on were not raised right by their mothers and fathers. Somehow your parenting is so special, it'll protect yourself from any of the hundreds of millions of women in this country ever doing this to him. I pray karma doesn't make your son pay for your rhetoric." I'm only laughing because that is the most ridiculous comment I've ever heard in my fucking life. I mean, girl, I don't even know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. Um, I just couldn't imagine my son, who I raised and raising, to have to go away or to maybe even from high school, college, and let's go.
I'm just saying. I want you guys to understand what she just said. I raised my son right. I don't think he'd ever be involved in that situation. You mean involved with a vindictive, lying woman? Yeah. And you sound crazy. How? Do you live in the United States of America? Yes, I do.
First of all, she must not watch any of the judge shows or I don't know, fucking read any newspapers, bitch, or grow up in any kind of neighborhoods or school. Like, what are we talking about here? You don't know not one woman who has lied on a man, or heard about it. Maybe you may not know him personally, but he just stated facts about cases. And this fool, Lord have mercy.
How do I sound crazy? You don't think your son being in this country could get caught up with a vindictive, lying woman?
Didn't she say her brother?
I would hope that he would have a little more sense because I raised him. How the French toast do you know someone? So your son is supposed to use the force to divine whether or not she has the capability of being a vindictive, lying woman. But you don't have the same standard for women that they should use the force and recognize they're involved with an abuser?
I am
Yeah, you're the
beyond.
problem. You're the problem, and you're the problem. Men are guilty until proven innocent.
Yes.
I dare you to show this to your brother. I don't believe that. I don't believe men are guilty. I dare you to show this to your brother and say that I'm raising my son in a way that his first offense about being involved with a vindictive, lying woman is to not be around her.
Somebody please show this to her brother and her son.
Man, do you not understand how often false charges are filed? If you live in this country, a simple Google search, a false rape, false violence charges, you will have more reading than you can get through in an entire year. College, professional, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what race. So you think that you can raise your son to combat a system that you participate in? You just were part of the lynch mob. All the woman has to do is say he did something. That's it. All she has to do is make the allegation. Then that's your son's ass. And you like the world to be that way? No. Then how can he protect himself from you? I was just saying that we don't know her situation exactly. I mean, the fact that she was even talking to him still, that was something else, but I don't know. I just got defensive with that because guys, I need you to understand this is how deep it goes. This is why women identify with women above anything else. Even with all the logic I just gave, even with the contradictions, you were still trying to come down and find a way to soften the blow for women. I'm just saying that we don't know all the evidence. So men should just be open to having their lives destroyed until we know. And man, we have to have a neutral system. That we don't know, that we don't believe until we have what? Until we have what? We have a system. We have a system of laws. Because let me tell you something. In this country, there used to be laws against women. I used to call you a witch. I used to just call you a witch. And you know what? We would either burn you at the stake, or we would sit you, or we would actually throw you in a river. Because witches are made of wood. Is that it? Witches are made of, no. If you float, you're made of wood, and we would burn you at the stake. Because witches are made of wood. And if you sank, that means you're not made of wood. Thus a holy woman, and you'd be innocent. Either way, you would die. You like those laws? No. You like those things? No. No proof is necessary. That woman looked at me. She put a hex on me. Oh, well, let's try her for being a witch. Do you realize how hysteria plays? That's why you have laws, burdens of proof. So we should just believe women. And you're a woman that has a son and thinks your son is going to be safe because you taught him right from wrong. What if he gets with a woman who's taught her to get what you got to get, girl? You do know women play games, right? Yes. You know women can lie about, before, what was it? What's the stat? 30%? I don't want to misquote the stat. But an inordinately high amount of married children come back not being the fathers. Women often lie about paternity.
Yep, I just said that.
So,
Often.
do you understand that women can, and will lie in their own best interest? I understand, but I don't think that it's all women, Why does that matter? Okay.
Nothing is all. I'm, Lord Jesus, help me. There's never a case where there's all of anything. Girl?
Maybe that's what I don't understand. Why does it need to be absolute value? Why does it need to be 100% of all women in order to make what I'm saying valid? Because I feel like sometimes when you say certain things, like on your YouTube channel when I'm watching your live, I feel like you categorize women as a whole, calling them modern, and then are they modern women? I mean, certain traits that you say. No, ma'am. What is it? No. Modern women are women of the modern era. See, this is sign language in another way, guys. I want you to understand that women like yourself, you are fine with generalizations that benefit women. But just because you want to say that, I don't feel like all anything. But what one thing outside of death, birth, reproduction, and creation of waste? What is universal with all people outside of biological functions? What's universal? Yeah, because I said that. I said that outside of that. You said, well, I don't feel like all women should do that. So in other words, you can't have a conversation unless 100% of women do something. No offense, did you go to college? I'm in college. All right. It's a generalization based upon the facts, evidence, statistics, data. And it's broadly, in conversations, you have to make generalizations because if you don't, you can never move the ball forward. And if it's true for the majority, 50.1%, then intelligent people understand that you don't have to continue to qualify everything. Because that, could you imagine having to qualify a conversation where you have to qualify everything? You could never talk about anything. But I want to ask you, do you hold these same positions true when women talk about men?
Yes,
Really?
I do.
So
Yeah.
when women, what percentage of the women would have to be be shown to lie about domestic violence if you would say we could say women do this?
I was just, I don't know. I'm just saying that we don't know her situation exactly. You know,
Okay.
Whoever the woman is that we don't know the situation about, but you still would rather take her word as um as solid gold rather than be neutral, ask questions, or just put it off as, well, we don't know both sides, so it's her word against his, especially because there is no evidence.
And what do we know about see? And this is what I'm. And guys, I want you to understand the circular logic. This is why it's my opinion that men should be in charge of stuff because you ladies run your logic through your emotion. We've gone down this path. You say, yeah, but we don't know her situation. All right, sure. I didn't know her situation until later on. But what do we know about women who claim domestic violence who don't file police reports?
that they're not taken seriously.
What do we know about women who claim domestic violence but who don't file police reports? They're not taken seriously. Okay, that's one way, but are their claims generally true, accurate?
We don't know. It could be true. It could be true. They just might not want to I don't know.
I want you guys to understand something. Ma'am, I'm asking you, what do we know about women who claim domestic violence with no proof, no police reports, no nothing? What percentage of time, what percent, in your opinion, if you just had to guess, it's a best guess, what percentage of times of women who claim domestic violence but yet have no police reports, no nothing, what percentage of time are these women also violators? Meaning they're violent too.
Um, I don't know. Probably 50% of the time.
50%.
Yeah.
So she wasn't expecting a twist, y'all. So here's the question again. What percentage time of the women who claim domestic violence yet have no police reports, no filings, what percentage of the time are those women violent in that situation? You're saying 50%.
Yeah, probably.
50%. So that means 50% of the time in this scenario, it's mutual combat. Mm-mm. No, that's 50%. Man, if there's violence back, it's mutual combat. Now, when I say that 50%, is that physical conflict? Is that physical?
But what if it's self-defense?
Shoot, I'm trying to look at a text and listen.
Is that physical?
More than likely, it's probably physical.
Oh, okay. And then how do we categorize emotional and verbal, which is the weapon of women more often than not? Does it rise higher than 50%?
Most likely, yes.
Thank you. So it's called mutual combat. So in your scenario, a man is the aggressor, and he initiates confrontation and conflict, and the woman only hits back or responds to defend herself. This is where I started to laugh at you ladies, because do you not live in a world where you see women being verbally aggressive and emotionally abusive to their significant others?
No, I'm aware that those things
Do
occur.
you, Okay? So if he responds with his hands, is that self-defense? Uh-oh.
No, I feel like it should never. It should never be.
No.
Oh.
But see, see, the funny thing is, man, he didn't answer the question.
It should never be physical, says who? Matter of fact, I was just watching an episode of Judge Mathis where there was a couple who lived together, they broke up, or well, he cheated, and he had a girl over to his mother house, and he basically he didn't even tell the girlfriend who he was living with that he wanted to break up with her, I guess. He already moving on, but he got a lease with the girl, and moving on into a new situation or whatever. So the girl that he was living with goes over to his mother's house to confront him instead of taking the L and taking him to court like she did anyway. She goes over there to confront him, and Judge Mathis basically threw out the case because it's considered instigation. She went over there to start some mess. What you gonna do? Argue with a man? Um, and do what? Because it's gonna escalate. You know, somebody gonna end up putting hands on somebody, and more than likely it's gonna be the ghetto ass hood booger woman, black or white, I don't care. Um, that is going to attempt or actually connect her fist with that man, thinking that he won't hit her back, or if he does, he'll be the one going to jail because he's bigger. So, lady, don't sit up here and say, talk as if situations shouldn't get heated to the level of a physical altercation when you know um you can't predict that, or you can't it happens all the time, ma'am. What are you talking about?
If she's being verbal,
His hands with his hands.
if she's being verbally violent and emotionally abusive, and he responds with his hands, is that fair play?
No.
Okay, why not?
Because men are physically stronger than women, and a real man will walk away and walk away.
Thank you. Thank you.
Real men walk
that's
away.
At the root of everything, gentlemen. Ladies, that's at the root of everything. You're a woman that believes that men are stronger and men should walk away. And if that's the case, then you should keep your mouth closed and not incite a man. Because you can't whoop his ass. But how many women do that? Thank you.
I don't know. I know.
Ma'am, no matter how you, I'm not talking about you.
Okay.
That woman was almost 6 feet tall, 5'11".
But time and time again, you see these women, the women in general, call themselves confronting men and carrying on as if they can whoop a man's ass. Now sometimes, shit, my ex-boyfriend, he got a ugh, his one of his baby mothers, she's a manly old thing, and she can definitely rumble with a man. I'm just saying. But the average woman cannot beat a man. For the most part, obviously. But yet still, you see women on video after video. Rah, 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 rah. Yeah, nigga, what's up? You cheating on me? Want to chase him down, poke him in the back, smack him around, and think he just supposed to take it. Now, granted, your bark might not be as loud as your bite, but if he haul off and smack your ass, I mean, shit, after you hit him, then shit, it's fair game, bitch. You want to be treated feminism, equality, bitch. You want to be treated equal. The hell? And matter of fact, I'm so glad I thought about this because I was in like sixth grade, and I don't know what the devil came over me, but I was in class with a boy, probably because I liked him. His name was Jawan, and Jawan was sitting behind me, and something happened, and I was feeling myself, and hauled off and smacked the shit out of him. That nigga hauled off and slapped me right back. And we was big sixth graders. I was, I was always tall for my age, and he was one of the taller boys in class too. Cause I was up there with the boys. I'm 5'7" now, but shit, most of them surpassed me. But um, he was up there. He was a few inches over me, so we was big. And that nigga slapped me right the fuck back, bitch. I couldn't go home and cry to my mama because I know what the fuck I did. So, hey.
And I get so tired of you women saying that men should just take abuse. A real man, a real woman would know not to incite a man because you can't keep it from hitting you, harming you. You're not supposed to. What sense does it make to agitate somebody who you cannot defend yourself against?
No sense.
But it happens. And even in your scenario where you said, well, in a situation where there's
I'm reading the comment section as I'm listening. And, this white women's movement, Me Too, so called Me Too movement. Well, actually, no, the founder of the Me Too movement is that Tarana, the black lady with that humongous nose, whatever her name is. You know, it's funny how they want to, don't get me wrong. I'm all for advocating for, women's abuse. Women that can essentially prove that they've been abused. I have family members that were in abusive relationships. I remember when I was little one day, my parents getting to leaving out the house to um go to my aunt's house because her boyfriend was smacking her around. So, I'm not anti, obviously, but I'm just reading the comment section, and it reminded me that these movements, although allegedly well-meaning, I don't know how well-meaning you can be by just, by going after somebody without proof, just because, at one point, especially during Kavanaugh's hearing, and that funny looking lady that looked like not Beavis and Butthead, but that other um those other two characters, she looked just like that man. Anyway, during the whole Kavanaugh thing, it was believe our women, believe our women. I mean, just completely out of just insanity. But yet and still, if you bring up Emmett Till, then they look at you like you're crazy. I mean, there's thousands of Emmett Tills. Central Park 5. Or, well, no, that's not the same. I'm sorry. I apologize. Um, well, yeah, they were falsely accused. Yeah. Emmett Till, the Central Park 5. Um, But believe all women. What?
There's
Okay.
domestic violence. She responds 50% of the time. Well, if she's a real woman, why she hit back? If she's a real woman and she can't defend her, why didn't she just run away? Uh-oh. See, the logic works either way, man. Right? If he's a coward of a man and hit her, why wouldn't she, a real woman, and just run away?
Right.
Why'd she hit back?
Exactly.
I understand it's wrong. It's wrong.
Do you know any? If you know any police officers or anybody who responds to these kind of things, they will tell you more often than not when they get called to a home, the aggressor or the initiator of the violence is often female. The escalator is often female. Now, I'm not going to say in but what women get fixated on is the times where women are being outright abused by vicious perpetrators. But that's not the majority of the cases. When people come on here talking about that kind of stuff, that's what your mind jumps to. But that's not it.
I hear
the majority of the cases are women mutual combat. He got on your nerves, you got on his nerves.
I know I keep stopping this. This gonna go on way too long, but I can't edit because I don't know how to use my editing app. Sorry, y'all. But I was just gonna say, what the fuck was I gonna say?
All right, leave
I
me
forgot.
alone. You ain't this, and she escalates and escalates and escalates. He raises his voice. They're both wrong. But we only believe one person in this thing. It got violent. And I'm going to tell you, on doing my show, I've talked to so many women who claim this stuff, and I asked, okay, were there any police reports found? And there have been some times when women said there have been. And I said, well, you're right to leave. If you have police reports of this or that, and this really arose, but then women who do that move that way. The women, but the vast majority of the time, when women call into my show, they're saying it just like they use the word irreconcilable differences, because they still tend to be involved with the baby daddy or the child's father, just like that scenario. So due respect, I do this enough to be able to understand what I'm working with. And when I hear a woman say, I'm not.
Oh, I was gonna say, I hope she read this comment section. Cause baby, I'm surprised she not in here in this comment section trying to defend her damn self.
Because of domestic violence, I take it with a grain of salt. And I say, okay, were the police involved? No. Are there any police reports? No. Well, I don't automatically believe you. And I'm trying to understand why, as a sound, solid citizen, you don't think the same thing just because we don't know her story. We know enough about her story to know it wasn't serious enough to her to keep it from happening again, to keep the authorities involved, or even to stay away from it. Yeah. That's what we do know. I think it's a good conversation because I get lambasted with this stuff because women who use these terms rely on women like you to defend them, absent of evidence. And then it's for men to have to prove their innocence. That's not how this country works. This country, you're innocent until proven guilty.
No, I agree, and I feel like maybe it was just my own going off of my own experience.
I got it. That's why the first thing I asked you was, do you have a son or do you have a brother? Because your son and your brother have to have men and women who think like me protecting them. Because unfortunately, they have women who say that stuff, and women like you going up there and experience. And if a man gets charged with that kind of stuff, it can ruin his life. Not just a bad day, ruin his life.
No, I know. My brother was in a similar situation where his ex-wife was terrible. So I know.
And I'm going to tell you, I am concerned with you said I raised my son well enough to where he wouldn't. And you cannot. You cannot. There's no. It happens. I went to the University of Oklahoma back in the 80s. It was a powerhouse. And one day I was in the athletic door, and this girl came through after the OU won. This is back when I'm playing for national championships. And knocking on doors. Hey, how you doing? And she was just going through the dorm. You know what she was doing? She was taking all comers. Okay? Anybody who wanted to hit it, she was doing it.
Okay.
I'm just telling you. Mm-hmm. I was in one of my fraternity brothers' dorm. He ran track. She knocked on the door. This dude named Z came through. Hey man. And I'm like, I'm good. That was like, man, I was like, we good. Peace out. They went on and kicked it and did whatever they did, right? We left. 3 weeks later, they arrested Z and three other guys for rape. You know what happened? That girl went back to her sorority. And her sorority said, and she told about her fun night at the athletic dorm, where she was in there doing guys in her dorm. She was doing them left and right, enjoying it. I saw her going through. But what happened was that story got back to her dad. Her dad was a oil and gas bigwig, and when he talked to his daughter, because it got around that that his baby girl was going through the dorms with these athletic, what did she do? She cried.
Lied.
She cried rape. And these guys went up there, and the police came and talked to these guys. And they talked to the police without benefit of counsel. They had them in there, and these guys didn't know what to do, incriminated themselves. Hell, I got called in. I got asked, like, I was in the dorm that night. They took our testimony. But guess what? When those guys went to trial, none of the people who were there that night said that girl was knocking on doors, offering. We would never put on stand. Those guys served time, real time, ruined their lives. Because that girl had to protect her reputation because her father was an oil and gas bigwig, and he couldn't think of his daughter going through the dorms, just getting trains ran on by these black guys. Duke Lacrosse. You familiar with them? The Duke Lacrosse team.
No.
You ever heard of them? Just Google it, man. You Google false rape accusations on college campuses. False rape accusations, false. And as a men's advocate, I have a daughter. I grew up with my mother and her sisters, and I'm gonna tell you, I've said this before and I said it again. I've seen more women be violent with men than I've seen it the other way. Hot grits thrown on men, boiling water, women going over men's house, destroying property. We see this in movies, right? A guy does something to a woman, and she slaps him across the face, and all over in the audience, yay! The TV show The View, where you had when Barbara Walters, all these older women, and talked about chopping a man's Johnson off.
Oh, let me say this real quick. I forgot. Yeah, the Duke lacrosse case. I looked it up yesterday. Come to find out, the chick that accused the black chick that accused the three white boys is serving prison time for murder of her boyfriend. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
And then she threw it in the blender. Ah, they sat on camera talking. They sat on national TV laughing about this. And can you imagine a world where men sat on TV talking about chopping off any part of a woman and throwing it in a blender because he was heartbroken? We allow one-way violence from women to men. to where we codify it in law, to where the populace will just believe women based upon a loose allegation with no proof. And that's what just kind of happened here. And due respect, I could sense that your heart was in the right place, but we got to get you ladies to understand that just because the horrible things that happen to you, women should not be able to use that to their benefit without any proof. They're using women like you. They're using your pain. They're using your situation to their benefit. So they're manipulating you, men, and the system. And I think that's wrong as men being accused. I don't think it's right that you ladies go defend them because they know you can't defend against that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why I push back so much about it, to have the conversation. People will probably actually watch this, and Lord knows what's gonna happen. My critics and detractors gonna cherry pick the clips, but I think we got to a point of understanding that there no.
That's the end of that. I thought it was just me. It was a lot of people in the comment section that were just enraged. Okay, so yeah. On that note, feel free to hit the like, share, subscribe. Once again, fair use, and thanks for tuning in. And I'll talk to you soon.